They see what's going on the inside. They see how they got there. They see what's going on while they're there. And they're trying to fight to get up out of there. But the things that you see and the things that you pick up and things that you read and the understanding and the knowledge that you obtain, man. That's what they sneak up on y'all. But y'all ain't heard nothing about this on TV, huh? No. Proposition 18. Parents, pay attention. I personally believe they're trying to get your child's Social Security and do some other shit with his name or whatever the fuck. There's something sneaky, okay? They're trying to get some money off your children. Proposition 18 amends California Constitution to permit 17-year-olds to vote in primary and special elections if they will turn 18 by the next general election. By the next general election and be otherwise eligible to vote. So they need your child's information before the next general election for a fucking reason. Pay attention. Physical impact increased statewide county costs likely between several hundreds of thousands of dollars and $1 million every 2 years. But they gave you a whole bunch of shit about felons voting and fucking ballots is gonna cost the billions, but see what I'm saying? $1 million every 2 years, increased one-time cost to the state of hundreds of thousands of dollars. What your vote means, a vote means on this measure, eligible 17-year-olds who will be 18 years old by the time the next general election may vote in the primary and any special elections, you know, like props, you know, who's running for a district, council, shit like that. Know who the fuck you electing. Know who's sitting up there. It's fucked up while they been there, you know. Ain't made no motherfucking change. You make gradual change. You get somebody to come down and give you some fucking grant money. Take a couple of pictures, smile, go out there, walk around, make a couple of arguments on Capitol Hill, some old bullshit, and come back down. Well, what they said was, what the fuck you doing up there? Get your ass about it. You know what I'm saying? But proposition for the pros will allow first-time voters to participate in the full election cycle, provided they're 18 at the time general election. This measure needs to boost youth civic engagement in our elections and help create more lifelong participants in the most fundamental process of democracy. No, basically science and legal consistency demand a no. Prop 18 law prohibits younger teens from smoking, drinking, even tanning because research shows the logic and reasoning area of their brains are not fully developed. Those abilities are vital. Responsible voting. We must not lower the voting age. Some of these young kids are smarter than you dumbass grown-ups. Straight up. That's why you broke and they rich. I don't want to hear that shit. These motherfucking young cats know what the hell they talking about, what they doing. You the dumb motherfucker. You just ain't listening. See, what you fail to realize is from an infant to a teenager, they're still in the learning process. They're still seeing what the fuck going on, and they're learning off of you. They're learning off of you. They're actually learning what not to do. I'm just saying, by watching you. You know? So that's why you don't want them to vote. Because they're going to be like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. In your ass. Proposition 19 changes property tax rules. Legislative constitutional amendment allows homeowners who are over 55, disabled, wildlife and disaster victims to transfer primary resident tax base to replacement residents. Basically, you're one of those in those groups. You can get a new house, maybe. You can transfer it to a replacement resident. That's what it says. That's what I take it. Changes taxation of family property transfers, establish fire protection fund services. Physical impact, local governments could gain tens of millions of dollars of property tax revenue per year, probably going over time to a few $100 million per year. Schools could receive similar paid property tax gain. A yes means all homeowners over 55 who meet the qualification will be eligible for property tax savings when they move. Only inherited property such as property primary homes or farms will be eligible for property tax savings. A no on this measure means some homeowners who are over 55 or meet the qualifications will continue to be eligible for property tax savings when they move. All inherited properties continue to be eligible for tax savings. Yeah. Here's another one. And I want to read this to you so you really understand this. They made a big complaint about prison overcrowding. Their complaint, of course, was everything's fine. As long as we keep getting this money, everything's fine. So a lot of people's constituents pressing line, overcrowding, 3-judge panel, lawsuits. They start losing money. So eventually they're going to start releasing some motherfuckers. And that's what they've been doing, releasing some special motherfuckers. Like those special motherfucking child molesters that they keep letting the fuck out. Okay, but hey, what I know, I've been in there multiple times, so I see who they letting out. Okay. So now, this whole coronavirus shit. Mind you releasing motherfuckers so you're losing money. Now this coronavirus shit, now you really losing because now you gotta let more motherfuckers go because it's still kind of overcrowded. You got motherfuckers that's dying in certain prisons. This shit is killing motherfuckers on the streets. You got to release. They gonna press you. Now you finna lose more money because guess what? Also, you're not even transferring prisoners from prison to prison like you really get your money too. You know what I mean? County jails, same motherfucking way. So now it's more of a life and death thing. Because if this motherfucker's so jam-packed with prisoners, now they ain't going nowhere, so they ain't got the shit. So how a motherfucker from prison get it that's doing time and die? Because these motherfuckers is going out there, fucking their boyfriend, their girlfriend, whatever nasty shit that they doing. Because that's how motherfuckers get sick in prison anyway. It's not because, we go to visit and we see our family and our family give it to us. No. These nasty ass motherfucking correctional officers, these nasty ass nurses, these nasty ass free staffs, the cooks, independent contractors, wherever the fuck. They're nasty. They go out there, they fuck with God knows who and God knows what, and Joe Blow and suck somebody's dick and eat some pussy and fuck and be nasty and share it with them and give it back to them, whatever. Then they come back and they want to be nasty and sneeze and want to go search your shit and touch on everything. Now you get in the bed and you get it and you pass it to him and he get it, so that's how that shit goes. So that's how motherfuckers catch that COVID shit. So now you got to let motherfuckers go now. So you came up with an idea. Okay, well, we're only going to let non-violent prisoners out if you're within 6 months of getting released. You bullshit on that. You pick and choose. All right. I'm saying that to say Proposition 20 restricts parole for certain offenses currently considered to be non-violent, authorizes felony sentences for certain offenses currently treated only as misdemeanors. I really want you to pay attention to what I just said. Proposition 20 restricts parole for certain offenses currently considered to be non-violent. That means you cannot get out even if your shit non-violent. They keeping you in and getting that money. It also authorizes felony sentences for certain offenses currently treated only as misdemeanors. So you mean to tell me, depending on who the fucking the judge is, you can get a misdemeanor and that motherfucker could boost it up to a felony and book your dumb ass. Not necessarily send you to prison, but book you with that felony. So next time your ass do some dumb shit, they got your ass in the state prison. And just because you probably came to jail with a non-violent felony and shit like that some dick ass officer was on some dick shit and decided to lock you up because you got that one fucking felony, and then you get fucked in court by your bullshit truck ass district attorney and your truck ass motherfucking public pretender, that motherfucker. Now you got to go do 16 months probably with a strike. No, 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 no. You're going to be locked up and they still going to get that money. The summary of this limits access to parole program established for nonviolent offenders who have completed the full term of their primary offense by eliminating eligibility for certain offenses. Physical impact, increase in state and local correctional, court, and law enforcement costs, likely in the tens of millions of dollars annually, depending on implementation. Basically, they want to try to repeal Prop 57 and Prop 47. Period. You do a nonviolent crime, your ass going to jail if this shit passes. And they can book you with a felony depending on what it is. And they have yet to say what the fucking what the misdemeanors is that are boosted up to a felony. So, a yes vote on this measure means people who commit certain theft-related, they always gonna say theft-related, such as repeat shoplifting, could receive increased penalties such as longer jail terms. They ain't gonna say felony right now. Additional factors will be considered for the state's process for releasing certain inmates from prison early. Law enforcement will be required to collect DNA samples from adults convicted of certain misdemeanors. Now they want your DNA if you get convicted of a certain misdemeanor. What you want my DNA? What you want my DNA? COVID, DNA, experiments, vaccines, shit ain't approved. You trying to push it through? FDA, CDC, Dr. Fauci. Oh shit. The pros, their argument is basically Proposition closes a loophole in the law that now Proposition 20 closes a loophole in the law that now allows convicted child molesters. They love throwing the child molesters out, but you keep letting the motherfuckers out. Sexual predators and others convicted of violent crimes to be released from prison early. Proposition 20 also expands collection to help solve rapes, murders, and other serious crimes, and strengthens sanctions against habitual thieves who steal repeatedly. Now, you say it expands DNA collection to help solve rapes and murders and other crimes. It allows convicted child molesters and sexual predators and others convicted of violent crimes to be released from prison early. Like I said, a motherfucker gonna touch a little boy, a little girl. Y'all gonna put his ass on this motherfucking sensitive knee yard or this motherfucking program designated facility, what you call it now, PDF or DPF or whatever the fuck it's called. You put these motherfuckers on there and you put them on the yard with a bunch of regular GP motherfuckers that don't go for that shit, but they gonna put you on these same two motherfucking yards, right? Because they know you on this yard and you probably got a month to go home. So what's more important, you getting off on this motherfucker, you going home. You know what I mean? So that's how the games that they be playing and shit like that to fuck them over. And then be like, oh, see, he's violent because he beat this child molester up. He's a fucking child molester. What do you expect? What the fuck you expect? But then you let this motherfucker out early as opposed to a motherfucker that may got violent felonies in the past and it's been past 7 years or whatnot since he committed another case, and he just may have he may have a gun possession. Or he did a burglary or whatnot. You want to get a motherfucker 11 years, 2 strikes. Then when he get done and he do like 3 and there's 3 or 4, you know what I mean, he's a non-violent, he's eligible for this law, you want to cry and complain and say, oh, well, he didn't meet this requirement, he didn't meet that requirement. What other requirement is it? You give a motherfucker all these classes and shit, motherfuckers go to the classes, and then you take away their milestones. after they did the work. Oh, you want to blame coronavirus for it because you didn't take this other part, or he didn't take this class. Well, why he didn't take this class? It was available. That's what you're gonna tell him. But no, it wasn't. It takes fucking a year or two just to get off the waiting list to get in one fucking class. What are you talking about? But that's something else. But again, and a no on this measure means penalties for people who commit certain theft-related crimes would not be increased. There will be no change in the state's process for releasing certain inmates from prison early. Law enforcement will continue to be required to collect DNA samples from adults only if they are arrested for a felony or required to register as sex offenders or arsonists. See, you gotta register to be a fucking sex offender or arsonist. Them motherfuckers. The argument's proposition close the loophole in the law that now allows convicted child molesters. We just went over that bullshit. So it's bullshit. The con is, and I'm biased to this shit, straight up, because it's bullshit. Let motherfuckers out of jail. He ain't violent. He ain't done nothing wrong. He did some bullshit. He did his time. Let the man out. He did the programs or whatever the fuck. It's a prison spending scam. Already is sever lengthy sentences, including life in prison for serious and violent crime. Prison special interests want to scare you into spending tens of millions on prisons, which could force draconian cuts to rehabilitation, schools, mental health, and homelessness. Yeah, they don't tell you about this on the fucking news. Oh yeah, Prop 21 expands local government's authority to enact rent control on residential properties. Allows local governments to establish rent control on residential properties over 15 years old. Local limit rates increase may differ from statewide limits, physical impact, overall potential reduction in state and local revenues, and the highs of tens of millions of dollars per year over time, depending on actions by local communities. Revenue losses could be less or more. The landlords want their money back because you've been living rent-free during coronavirus because you haven't had a job, you haven't been going to work unless you're doing it online, Zoom, what they're doing now. But they took a big loss. They want their money back. So if their building is older than 15 years, your rent is finna go up if this shit passes. You know. Hopefully you stack your EDD money up. A state of yes on this vote means state law will allow cities and counties to apply more kinds of rent control to more properties that are under current law. A no, state law basically is going to law maintains current limits on rent control. Cities, counties can apply. The arguments. Proposition 21 is the change we need to tackle homelessness. A yes on Proposition 21 is a vote to keep families in their homes. Strong coalition of elected leaders, affordable housing providers, and senior, veteran, homeless advocates that agree Proposition 21 will help prevent homelessness. The con is Proposition 21 will make California housing crisis even worse. Undermines the strongest statewide rent control law in the nation, costs jobs, reduces homes values, stops new housing from being built, and eliminates homeowner protections while providing no protections for renters, seniors, veterans, or the disabled. And Proposition 22, they talk about, basically contract employees like Postmates, Uber Eats, shit like that. It exempts app-based transportation and delivery companies from providing employee benefits to certain drivers. Well, what I don't understand is it exempts app-based transportation and delivery companies from providing employee benefits to certain drivers. Why you picking and choosing? Why just don't be all drivers? Everybody working, everybody driving, taking your fucking food to take it to God knows who. All right. Classifies app-based drivers as independent contractors and instead of employees. provides independent contract drivers other compensation unless certain criteria are met. Physical impact, minor increase in state income taxes paid by rideshare and delivery company drivers and investors. A yes means app-based rideshare and delivery companies could hire drivers as independent contractors. Drivers could decide when, where, and how much to work, but would not get standard benefits and protections that businesses must provide employees. A no on this measure means app-based rideshare and delivery companies would have to hire drivers as employees if the courts say that a recent state law makes drivers employees. Drivers would have less choice about when, where, and how much to work, but would get standard benefits and protection that businesses must provide employees. A yes, protect app-based drivers' choice to be an independent contractor. 4-to-1 margin drivers support independence, saves rideshare, delivery services, hundreds of thousands of jobs, provides drivers new benefits, earnings guaranteed, strengthens public safety, endorsed by an overwhelming majority of drivers, community, public safety, small business groups. And the cons, no on 22, stops billion-dollar app companies like Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash from writing their own exemption California law and profiting from it. 22 denies their drivers the rights and safety protections they deserve: sick leave, health care, unemployment. Companies profit, exploited drivers lose rights and protections. We got three more. We're on Proposition 23, and this one establishes state requirements for kidney dialysis clinics. Requires on-site medical professional. Initiative statute. Now here's a summary. It requires physician, nurse practitioner, or physician assistant on-site during dialysis treatment. Prohibits clinics from reducing services without state approval. Prohibits clinics from refusing to treat patients based on payment source. Physical impact. Increased state and local government costs, likely in the low tens of millions of dollars annually. This isn't rocket science. What your vote means. A yes on this measure means chronic dialysis clinics will be required to have a doctor on site during all patient treatment hours. And a no on this measure means chronic dialysis clinics would not be required to have a doctor on site during all patient treatment hours. I mean, why you don't want a doctor there now? I don't understand. What are you doing to these patients? Who are you sending up in there to oversee all this shit? A fucking doctor should be in there. Pure point blank. You never know what's going to happen. The argument is it combats poor hygiene in dialysis clinics by requiring infection reporting, improves staffing, including requiring a doctor in clinics during treatment, stops discrimination based on the patient's insurance. Oh yeah, the payment. Applies improvement to all clinics, whether in wealthy neighborhoods or poor, rural, black or brown communities. Patients, healthcare professionals, veterans, faith leaders agree. And the no, they say American Nurses Association of California, Medical Association, patient advocates strongly urge no on Prop 23. It will force many community dialysis clinics to shut down, threatening the lives of 80,000 California patients who need dialysis to survive. Prop 23 increases health care costs by hundreds of millions annually, makes our doctor shortage and ER overcrowding worse. Your no don't even make sense. President Trump, you still refusing to come out that White House. You lose, huh, Jack? All right. They've been doing politics a long time. You just new at this stuff. You think you just figured it all out. They gonna book your ass. Proposition 24 amends consumer privacy laws. Basically, the summary goes as follows: permits consumers to prevent businesses from sharing personal information, correct inaccurate personal information, and limit businesses' use of sensitive personal information, including precise geolocation, race, ethnicity, and health information. Establishes California Privacy Protection Agency. Physical impact: increased annual state costs of at least $10 million, but unlikely exceeding low tens of millions of dollars to enforce expanded consumer privacy laws. Some costs will be offset by penalties for violating these laws. Not rocket science. A yes on this vote means existing consumer data privacy laws and rights will be expanded. Businesses required to meet privacy requirements could change. New state agency and the state's Department of Justice would share responsibility for overseeing and enforcing state consumer privacy laws. All right, and the no, businesses will continue to be required to follow existing consumer data privacy laws. Consumer will continue to have existing data privacy rights. State's Department of Justice will continue to oversee and enforce these laws. We really don't have to go too far in this one. And last but not least, Proposition 25. For those that find themselves in a little bit of a jam, this is what they're throwing under the radar for you. October 19th, there was a proposition that was passed basically saying there is no more cash bail. That law was taken into effect last year, 2019. Okay. Now they're coming with Proposition 25. It's a referendum on law that replaced money bail with system-based on public safety and flight risk. Pay attention. Here's a summary. A yes vote approves and a no vote rejects law replacing money bail with system-based on public safety and flight risk. Physical impact: increased costs, possibly in mid-hundreds of millions of dollars annually for a new process for release from jail prior to trial. Decreased county jail costs, possibly in high tens of millions of dollars annually. What your vote means. A yes vote on this measure means no one will pay bail to be released from jail before trial. Instead, people would either be released automatically or based on their assessed risk of committing another crime or not appearing in court if released. No one will be charged fees as a condition of release. We'll read that one more time. A yes on this measure means no one will pay bail to be released from jail before trial. Instead, people would either be released automatically or based on their assessed risk of committing another crime or not appearing in court if released. No one will be charged fees as a condition of release. The no: some people will continue to pay bail to be released from jail before trial. Other people will continue to be released without paying bail. Fees may continue to be charged as a condition of release. The pros say a yes on 25 replaces money bail with a fairer, safer, and less costly process. Currently, if a person can afford to pay a bail bond company, they go free into trial. If they can't afford, even if they're innocent, they stay in jail. That's blatant discrimination. Vote yes. Proposition 25, their cons say, written by Sacramento politicians to take away every California's option to post bail and replaces this right with a new discriminatory system of computer-generated profiling administered by government bureaucrats, costing taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Prop 25 is unfair, unsafe, and costly. Vote no on Prop 25. So there you have it. You see the bright stars, they're going to hit you with Trump all day long. And then, while they throwing that right hand, here come that sneaky left and knock you smooth out. Then you on TV complaining, well, why this happened? Why this happened? Because your dumb ass didn't vote. I'm Apex 180. I'm gone. Yeah. See.